You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Y&R fans. So I want to talk to you today about who is this new girl, Claire Grace, really? Because I think there was some huge hints dropped on, they're going to be dropped on Monday's Y&R. I already saw the episode. You guys will see it on Monday if you're U.S. watchers. I watch in the U.S., but I got friends in Canada. All right, so some huge clues were dropped, some huge tidbits. We have this new girl, Claire Grace, in Genoa City on Monday, and she interviews with Nikki Newman and Audra Charles for a job as Nikki's assistant. They are sitting at Society, they're doing an interview, they're chatting. She lands the job, and that seems great, but there were some interesting tidbits she dropped about her background that point to who her parents might be, and that her real last name could be an absolute shocker when it comes out. We'll talk about all that and the three possibilities for who might be her father in just a moment. Hey, if you haven't already, please reach down, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our Y&R updates. So, digging into the things that Claire told Nikki at the interview, presumably both of Claire Grace's parents are dead. That might be true or it might not be true. I know a lot of people are hoping it's not, and she's just there for revenge. I think that's what we're all thinking. She's got to have an agenda. There was a mention of some other family named Carmichael, who her family knows and Nikki seems to know, and that Claire's great aunt was raising her because her parents died in a car accident. But all the social and family stuff really could be fiction. It's not like Nikki can check that type of reference, just ones related to her work. And apparently Claire has been living in Chicago. That much is probably true because that's where her references should be from. So I've got a few theories on who Claire Grace's dad might be based on my theory of who her mom might be. So to be clear, there are very few spoilers for Claire yet, other than a mystery woman shows up in Genoa City and Nikki interviews someone for Newman Media. But what has me thinking all sorts of things about this new girl, Claire, are two big things. First, Grace is not a last name. I'm sure there are people out there with the last name Grace, but it is extremely rare. I already knew. I don't know anybody in my entire life that has had the last name Grace. You know, I've been around the block a little bit. I've traveled. I've lived in lots of places. Never met someone with the last name Grace. So I just did some Googling. I did research. I'm a research girl. You guys know this if you've been listening. For every 100,000 people in America, less than 10 people have that last name. So to blow that up to let you understand it better, of the entire 340 million inhabitants of America, right now, less than 34,000 people have that last name. That is an extremely rare last name, extremely rare. So no, I do not think that is her last name. I think Claire Grace is her first and middle name, and she's using her middle name as her last name as of now. So the second thing, the official Y&R spoilers for season 51 say an unexpected adversary challenges Nikki Newman. Who's unexpected? Well, that's the whole thing. They'd be unexpected. Audra Charles would be expected. Nate would be expected. Tucker would be expected. Adam would be expected. Most people on the character canvas right now, either would be expected or would have no interest in coming after her. Who would be coming after Nikki personally or professionally? Diane Jenkins does not give a tanker's damn about Nikki at this point. She's got Jack, she's got Kyle, she's got a job at Jabot. Phyllis isn't looking at Nikki for any reason. Nobody else that I can think of is. So that has me thinking new girl, especially since she beelined for a job working for Nikki at Newman Media. So first, I want to talk about who I think her mom might be, and then based on that premise, I have three candidates for who her dad might be, and that could reveal her real last name. So in terms of her mom, I'm wondering if Claire Grace was named for her mother. Could she be the child of Grace Turner? Do you remember her as a blast from the Young and the Restless past? She hasn't been seen for about 9 years. She was played most recently by Jennifer Grice. Jennifer's over on Bold right now playing Donna Logan, but she's not usually front burner and would probably have time to dip into Y&R to reprise the role unless she is really dead, like Claire Grace said her mom was during her job interview, and if Grace Turner is even her mother. But it'd be kind of a fitting blast from the past because it would be so easy to use Jennifer Grice since Bold shoots right near Y&R. I know that Y&R has moved over to Haven Studios, which is a Sony open run lot, because Television City was sold to somebody else and they tore down all the sets and they're doing a big refurb. So both the soaps and all the game shows that filmed at Television City had to go. So I'm assuming that Bold went to where YR went because they have a lot of overlaps. So it would be super easy for Jennifer Grice to do scenes at Bold and walk over and do some scenes at YR if she was needed. So, or they could just say that she's dead because she hasn't been seen on screen since about 2014, I think. Just to remind you, Grace Turner was a huge troublemaker. She was Sharon Newman's childhood best friend back in the small town in Wisconsin they came from. And she came to Genoa City at one point. She actually had Cassie, Mariah's twin, living with her secretly for a while. She had originally brought Cassie to town and was going to tell Sharon. And then when something else happened, then she decided to keep her. So Grace was this intense rival of Sharon's. Grace was involved with a couple of other people during her tenure on Y&R. Last she was heard of, she was supposedly off working for a Newman subsidiary in New York City, where Victor had sent her to get her out of Sharon and Nick's way. So is Claire Grace the daughter of Grace Turner? Maybe. No spoilers yet, just notions and theories. But if she is, if Grace Turner is Claire Grace's mother, then one of 3 major characters, name brand characters you're going to know could be her daddy. So I said before talking about this new character that I hoped she would not be a Newman or an Abbott so that she could have more flexibility about who she's paired with romantically. She could be a Chancellor, she could be a McCall, she could be lots of people, but one of these 3 possible baby daddies I'm about to tell you about, if Claire is Grace's kid, is a Newman, namely Nick Newman. So Nick spent a lot of time warming Grace Turner's bed sheets back when he was more of a man-ho than he is at the moment. So, you know, he was definitely a himbo back in the day. He's semi-reformed now. We'll see. He and Grace were doing the deed whenever she could get him naked, and he slept with her all the time. Whenever he was aggravated at Sharon, you know, whether they were married or not, that's just what Nick did. So, yes, if Grace is Claire's mother, Nick could absolutely be her dad. She could be a secret Newman. Not that we need more secret Newmans, but she could be. But let's face it also, Nick does not need any more kids, nor another baby mama. He's got Sharon, he's got Phyllis. For a moment, he thought Christian was his kid by Sage. So Nick is not a member of the No Glove, No Love squad since he's been spreading his seed around Genoa City like a fire hydrant busted open in July. So I hope he is not Claire's daddy. If not, who else could be Claire's daddy if Grace is her mommy? The next possible candidate is none other than shiesty lawyer and silver fox Michael Baldwin. So if either Michael or Nick are her dad, then Claire Grace is lying about her dad being dead, you know? So it's been a minute. Grace Turner could be dead, fully dead, or, you know, she could be lying about her parents, full stop. So this girl's whole backstory could be a fib. Only time and confirmed Y&R spoilers will tell, neither of which we have at the moment. So back in Michael's more criminal, shady, and horn dog days, he also hooked up with Grace Turner. Things fell apart for them pretty fast because she got mad over his work on a custody case involving Cassie Newman, but still, he could have made a baby with her, and a Baldwin is better than an Abbott or a Newman in terms of her future romantic prospects. So it's this last option I'm about to tell you about, though, that is the most disturbing. A truly heinous villain might be her daddy if, in fact, Claire Grace is her mom. And yes, if Claire is her mom, if Claire is Grace's mom, then, and this guy is the dad, this guy is dead, and maybe her mom has died, but they definitely wouldn't have died in a car wreck if these are her parents. So guess who else Grace Turner hit the sheets with? None other than wicked Cameron Kirsten. So I mentioned the other day that I thought Y&R did a disservice by bringing him back only to kill him off like 15 minutes later. If you want to see that discussion, there's a standalone Y&R video, 5 plots Y&R really screwed up. You can see it in our recent videos if you scroll down, or you can see it over in our Y&R playlist. So maybe, just maybe, Y&R head writer had something more planned. I would be impressed if he did, and that he didn't just drop the ball and kill Cameron Kirsten off ASAP for no reason. I think it would be absolutely awesome if Claire Grace's parents were Grace Turner and Cameron Kirsten. That would explain why she'd be showing up to mess with the Newmans. In off-screen history, Grace was involved with Cameron before he turned up in Genoa City and tried to rape Sharon back in the day, and then Sharon slugged him in the head with the champagne bottle and shoved his body into the sewer. So Grace showed up accusing Sharon of killing her boyfriend. Apparently they had met online. It was long distance romance, something. But he wasn't dead. He was just lurking around tormenting Sharon, and Grace was helping him do it. In the end, Cameron went to prison, and Grace didn't pay any consequences for her actions helping him. So yeah, this new girl could potentially be Claire Grace Kirsten, which would be a wicked twist and would totally explain why she's not using her real last name. And if he were her dad, she'd only be half lying if her mom were still alive. It could explain why Claire Grace is the one who wants to mess with Nikki and work at Newman Media, because her revenge game might to be targeting all the Newmans, Nikki, Nick, targeting Sharon, just wreaking havoc on behalf of her dead dad and her mom, who may or may not be dead. So right now, this is just all an academic discussion of possible paths this could take. Hopefully, we will know more about her soon and won't be left hanging for months with no hint of her real identity, her real agenda, her true background, and whether she's the namesake offspring of Grace Turner and one of these men, either Michael Baldwin, Cameron Kirsten, or Nick Newman. Hey, let me know what you guys think. Who are you hoping her parents might be? If you enjoyed this discussion, please click a like and definitely click subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you listening every day. Come back soon. This has been Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.